Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. A legal challenge has been launched against the right of churches to opt out of gay weddings. Millionaire gay couple Barry and Tony Druitt confirmed in the Chelmsford Weekly News that legal action has started. Barry said, "We've launched a challenge to the government's decision to allow some religious groups to opt out of marrying same-sex couples. It is no reflection on our local parish church, who have been nothing but supportive towards us. Their hands are tied by a higher group of people within the church." The government's same-sex marriage bill, which came into law last month, allows churches to opt out of performing gay weddings and specifically protects the Church of England. Top human rights lawyer Aidan O'Neill QC warned the Prime Minister back in January that the protections in the bill for the Anglican Church were challengeable in court, but David Cameron chose to ignore the legal advice. Police have arrested two people who were planning to take a 71-year-old man believed to have dementia to an assisted suicide clinic in Switzerland. The pair, thought to be the wife and son of the man, were questioned on suspicion of encouraging or assisting suicide, which could carry a prison sentence of up to 14 years. They were later released on bail. Police described the 71-year-old as vulnerable and said they took action because they were concerned that he may lack the mental capacity to make informed decisions. Dr Peter Saunders of campaign group Care Not Killing said the case may cause some to question the current law on suicide, but he says there is no need for it to change. He added, "Any change in the law to allow assisted suicide or euthanasia would place subtle pressure on vulnerable people to end their lives for fear of being a financial, emotional or care burden upon others." A tribunal in Canada has placed new restrictions on the distribution of Gideon Bibles in schools. It comes after a challenge by atheist René Chouinard, who took his case to the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario. He said it was biased that his daughter was offered religious literature at school, whilst at the same time requests for atheist material to be distributed were denied. David White, Associate Chair of the Tribunal, said the school's position was discriminatory and ruled that school boards in the Niagara area cannot design their criteria in a way that would permit communication of materials setting out their beliefs by some, but not all, creeds. Gideon's International has been distributing Bibles to students in Canadian schools since 1936. Multiple partner relationships could become the norm, according to a controversial BBC investigation. Radio 4's documentary Monogamy and the Rules of Love featured a number of interviews with people in polyamorous relationships, which are intimate relationships between three or more people at the same time. Presenter Joe Fidgen questioned whether there is still room for sexual fidelity in a society where choice is everything, and suggested that the taboo surrounding intimate multi-partner relationships could disappear within the next 10 years. But the programme neglected to examine the effects on children, with Miss Fidgen saying she didn't want to get into a debate about what's best for society, but added, "We don't see any contradiction in loving more than one friend. No one asks us to only love one of our children. Why shouldn't it be any different with romantic love?" Default blocks on internet pornography may prevent gay youths accessing information, according to the head of a leading sexual health charity. Simon Blake, Chief Executive of Brooke, says he is concerned about the Prime Minister's plan to introduce a default block on internet porn into family homes, as the filters could inadvertently block sexual health education websites. Mr Blake said, "Pornography may be, for some, one of the first places they see their sexuality represented positively, or that they learn about same-sex relationships." He continued, "We need to involve young people in this debate, especially the voices of LGBT young people who could be disproportionately affected by relevant and useful information being restricted if we get this wrong." And a Girl Guide group in North Yorkshire has said they will not use a new pledge which has removed reference to God. Hazel Mitford, who runs the guide group in Harrogate, along with both the Brownie and Rainbow leaders, wrote to their local newspaper saying, "God has been part of the promise since it was founded. Removing the reference to God in the interest of inclusivity removes much of what we stand for." Girl Guiding UK changed their promise in June, replacing "to love my God" with a pledge to be true to myself following a consultation. Jem Henderson, an atheist helper at the group, has accused the leaders of excluding her and is being supported by the National Secular Society. And a spokeswoman for Girl Guiding UK has indicated that groups which do not use the new pledge will be forced out of the movement unless they comply. But the Right Reverend Michael Nazir Ali, the former Bishop of Rochester, said that he hoped others would follow the stance taken by the women in Harrogate. Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.